Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, dogs, cats, and welcome back to Calm Down Level Up. Today we're here again in one of the final episodes. It's gotta be, I keep saying this, but I don't know how many episodes are left. It's gotta be towards the end here. We're entering a major war in Asia that's going to decide the fate of Asia. We're in a major war in Europe, which is going to decide the fate of Europe, and we're about to see the fate of North and South America pretty soon here. And I've been working my hardest to get one of these videos out roughly every other day, sometimes every 2 days. And that's actually pretty crazy on my schedule. Before, I was really bad at uploading. I would upload like 2 videos a week best. And I've been pretty proud that I've been able to do this and keep this up. But I'm sort of entering a time in my life here where I might not be able to have time to upload. So uploads may be slowing down in the future. And that is why I would please ask for you to all support me on Patreon. I do have a Patreon, and I opened it a long time ago, but I have never really advertised it. I only advertised it about one time, and I have a couple patrons. Thank you guys, by the way. But I would like to see if we can seriously get it rolling, because if I see that there's enough support on there, I will try my hardest to continue getting a video out every other day or so to the best of my ability. And if it does really well, I will make sure and guarantee that that happens. So if you enjoy these videos a lot, you watch them every time they upload, just know that I'm trying my best, and I would really appreciate it if you supported me down on Patreon. There's a link in the description. I'll be putting everyone's names at the end of each video that do support me on Patreon, and I think there's a couple other rewards. So thank you to everyone who wanted to support me on there, and let's get into this video. Okay, I've just had an Alabama declaration of war. I actually don't know who I'm watching as. Oh, it's Virginia. Okay. So we have a declaration of war between Alabama and Virginia pretty much instantly in the start of this video. It looks like Alaska has been defeated, and there was a peace deal here. It doesn't look like Virginia got too much. But I don't think there were too many states to even give out in the first place. Oh wow, we do see a very heavy Virginian advance down in the southern states. I don't think there's actually very much Alabama resistance down here anyways. It looks like the majority of the Alabama army is over in the Midwest and up in Canada. So Virginia is not going to do very well up in north, but where they will do the best is down in the core of the south, and that's actually where Alabama's core states are. Now we do know that Virginia is in a bit of a bad position here. 69 divisions, 155 military factories, whereas Alabama is sitting at almost double the divisions and roughly about the same amount of military factories. So even though we're seeing early victories for Virginia in the beginning, that probably won't last. Alright boys, back to the war in Asia. What is going on down here? We have Indochina, allied kind of with Ukraine up in the north. 177 divisions, 391 military factories. Really quite strong, and it does look like for the most part they are winning on the border against Transcaucasia. Now over here, Manchuria versus Ukraine. We have a massive Manchurian assault against very, very few Ukrainian divisions. It looks like the majority of Ukraine's divisions are actually fighting Transcaucasia in the north. But we do have a potential break here for Transcaucasia. They are in reach of the Ukrainian capital, which would really throw them off. I really think that this is actually a war between Indochina and Manchuria for dominance over Asia. The two other guys are kind of just also in the war. Those two will probably be knocked out before Manchuria and Indochina. If you're voting for Indochina, do hashtag Indochina. And if you're rooting for Manchuria, do hashtag Manchuria in the comments. I'd like to see who's rooting for who. Over here in Europe, we have our crazy war still going on between National Siberia and Croatia. A crazy matchup. There's a lot of casualties though. Especially on the Croatian side, we have 1.82 million deaths already. And on the Iberian side, mostly from encirclements, I think, 635,000. Virginia's still actually doing okay. They've actually won and pushed Alabama in the north quite a bit, actually. And in the south, they're holding on to some territory that they've taken. I think the majority of their army is still down in the south. Serbia and Ethiopia are still here, but it looks like Serbia actually broke the Suez and is standing on one province past the Suez. Now, they're not winning any of the battles still, Well, actually, yeah, Ethiopia is winning the battle still. But still, that could mean they're about to break them. Serbia versus Empire of the Lion. We have 589,000 casualties for Serbia and 124,000 casualties of Empire of the Lion. And it looks like Manchuria has done it. They've actually broken Ukraine's lines and have kind of connected with Transcaucasia, even though they won't move through each other's territory because this is a free-for-all. So they're not actually in each other's teams. But we do have a major offensive from Indochina against Manchuria as well over here around Beijing. And they've taken quite a bit of territory, but that's probably going to be pretty costly for them, seeing as this war is quite a lot more like World War I would guess. There's probably a lot of grinding on trenches and borders and stuff. Especially over here in Europe. Also, it looks like Transcaucasia almost got the Ukrainian capital, but was then encircled. They tried to walk there, but they failed. There's always next time. Also, this is extremely dangerous for Ukraine. If this gets cut off, just a couple provinces here, up to the Serbian border, all of these divisions that are over here will get cut off from their capital and will start suffering heavy attrition, which will lead to a very quick collapse of all of their units, which could very heavily throw off Indochina and Ukraine's offensives over in Asia. But at the same time, Transcaucasia faces the same problem, and probably in a worse way. There's less divisions down here to guard it. If Indochina pushes all the way up to the Ukrainian border, which is just about the same distance as these, then all of Transcaucasia's units in Central Asia will probably fall. The battle for North America continues. The front line has definitely evened out quite a bit. It's more of a straight line now than being extremely jig-jaggedy, but it looks like Alabama is really starting to make their comeback. With the advantages that they have, they should be able to make the comeback. And down in the south against Virginia, they are starting to push Virginia back. For casualties, we actually have 500, almost 600,000 dead for the Manchurian Transcaucasian Alliance, and growing quickly, versus about half of that, 275,000 losses for Ukraine and Indochina. Everyone has suffered some victory points being lost, but it looks like Ukraine has lost the most, then Transcaucasia, then actually Indochina and Manchuria have roughly tied. And it is official, Transcaucasia's entire army in the east has been cut off. Now all Transcaucasia can really hope to do is do the same to Ukraine. Hopefully that'll even things out a bit. But also, the other thing that only really does is increase the fact that this is a battle between Indochina and Manchuria. The two big guys are kind of just using these two other little countries as little play puppets. They're making them do most of the fighting while these guys are going to get most of the gain out of it. This is the territory gain and loss for Manchuria. This is the territory gain and loss for Ukraine. This is the territory gain and loss from Transcaucasia. And this is the territory gain and loss for Indochina. The first Alabamans have set foot in Virginia. Virginia is now under siege. The war is now pretty much going overwhelmingly in favor of Alabama. Kentucky still needs to be retaken, as well as a few states over here in the north. But for the most part, it looks like Norfolk is going to fall fairly soon. Not the entire Ukrainian army has been cut off, but there is a major Ukrainian pocket here that is actually going to suffer pretty hard. Manchuria will probably clean that up. Well, the situation for Ethiopia looks like it got even worse. Serbia took another province on the other side of the Suez. Serbia is now actually very close to sieging Egypt, possibly causing the entire failure of Ethiopia. Now Transcaucasia is actually faced with another major issue. Their capital is actually about to fall to Indo-Chinese forces unless they do something about it. And this might get cut off here too, and another major portion of the Transcaucasian army may just die here. So Virginia was sieged, and Norfolk has fallen under Alabama hand. So Virginia is in a really bad spot even more now. They've moved their capital all the way into Quebec, but Virginia, as you can see, is 29% towards capitulation. So they still got a ways to go, but they are on their deathbed at this point. It is sad to see it and sad to say it, but it looks like Transcaucasia might be the first one to actually capitulate in this major war. They lost their capital, and a major portion of their army was just encircled up here in the north, and it's being attacked by both Ukraine and Indo-Chinese forces. Stavropol, their original capital, was reset as their capital, and their offensive against the Ukrainian capital was defeated, and now they're being counterattacked super hard, pushed back towards their original capital. And it doesn't look too good. It looks pretty grim for them at this point. Lots and lots of tiny encirclements here and there. Plus the majority of their army being over here encircled in Central Asia, they just can't do anything about it. Alright boys, so this is going to be my prediction. This is my official prediction of how this game is going to end. What I think is going to happen is Indochina and Ukraine are probably going to win the war in Asia. After Manchuria is defeated, Indochina will invade Ukraine pretty much instantaneously afterwards and very quickly defeat it. Then Indochina will either do one of two things. They'll attack Serbia while Serbia is attacking Empire of the Lion. Serbia will then die because they're fighting two fronts. Empire of the Lion will take some of the Middle East, and Indochina will probably take the rest. Or they'll actually start invading islands in the Pacific. Indochina has a fleet of 18 ships at this point, which is probably the largest fleet in the world, to be honest. Plus their superior numbers will allow them to invade these islands probably fairly efficiently. But if they do end up going this way, Serbia will be defeated fairly quickly. They'll then invade Empire of the Lion and either get stuck here again, just like Serbia is, or they'll get into Africa and they'll conquer Empire of the Lion, which will then lead to the fall of the Maghreb People's Republic. Eventually, a giant anime battle between Indochina and Croatia, if Croatia is hopefully done with Iberia at this point. Oh, that's a peace conference. Indochina took 25 states. Ukraine took 25 states, exactly half. 1,400,000 equipment was seized. RIP Stavropol. Stavropol did so good in this game. We've been watching them for so long. They were the first to die in our World War II, our massive Asian war. The rise of Kedah and the Ukraine up in the north just squished them. They were in the middle of it. They were landlocked. They didn't really have a chance. They were really fun to watch, and I would like everyone to spam F in the comments. If you see someone else's F in the comments, reply it with F, so let's see how many giant F chains in the comments we can get going. Hashtag F for Transcaucasia. Jeez. These are what our new borders look like. Ukraine still looks disgusting. Indochina looks fine though. Manchuria's got a massive war on their hands now. So we now have Ukraine retitling themselves, just like over in Europe. Unitary Transcaucasia. We're still going to refer to them as Ukraine, but they've decided, wow, that is a terrible capital spot. I mean, I guess they will have access technically through naval bases with supply, but that really just cemented their defeat against Indochina super hard, and their possible defeat militarily against Manchuria over here, even if Manchuria loses against Indochina. That is a terrible capital for Unitary Transcaucasia to have. And again, someone stealing someone else's name. Never good. But boys, if you like this video, make sure to hit like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. Make sure to check out my Patreon down in the description. It would really help, and it's going to let me know if I can continue to put the time into making videos and recording as many videos as possible. And I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.